Member for Kisumu Town West.
Mr. Speaker, I need not remind you that it is Kisumu West, not Kisumu Town West. Mr. Speaker, as we debate this issue, I would like the members of the House who are listening to me to know that we need to listen to each other, and we need to make sure that His Excellency the President gets the advice that he needs from this House. Before I address that issue, Mr. Speaker, I want to ponder certain questions. Since 2015, the CJ has been quite silent on this issue. And suddenly, he has come up with this advisory. Is it possible that he could be acting at the behest of certain persons who are not in the House? Is it possible that he's acting on behalf of persons who would like to scuttle the BBI process? Is it possible that he's not acting alone? Mr. Speaker, I point out these three questions, and I want to address this issue now, not just as a ranking member of this House, but also a ranking member of the LSK and a contemporary of the Chief Justice. Mr. Speaker, what we have that we are discussing today is not a judicial decision of the Supreme Court collectively or the CJ alone. It is simply an advisory, not a judicial decision. Advisory in legal interpretation means consultations. Such a momentous decision cannot be made without consulting the heads of the two other arms of government. Mr. Speaker, the Chief Justice acted recklessly, and I have no qualms about saying so. But now that he has done what he has, it is upon us now to take this opportunity to tell the Chief Justice that his advice is erroneous and wrong, and to tell the President why he must ignore that advice. If we don't do that, then we shall be failing in our duty as members of this House. Article 261, sub-article 7, Mr. Speaker, uses the word advice. But sub-article 7 also says that His Excellency shall dissolve the House. That article and sub-article 7 is self-contradictory. In legal terms, when you have such contradictions in the law, then you look at what is more convenient. Like Honorable Kumuja has just said, are you going to solve a problem by creating a bigger one? Have we addressed that issue? Mr. Speaker, I find it strange that we have not considered that in the absence of this Parliament, and I mean when I say Parliament, National Assembly and the Senate, in their absence, can an election be conducted in this country? Is IBC as it is now properly constituted to conduct an election? Do we have the finances for IBC to do so? If we are going to do that, who is going to appropriate finances to IBC in the absence of Parliament? The decision of the Chief Justice cannot be implemented. It is wrong. But most importantly, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kumunya has explained the background of how we ended up with what we have in the Constitution. But every cloud has a silver lining. Mr. Speaker, the silver lining on this cloud is that now members of this House have a chance to look at the various contradictions that we have in our Constitution and see how best we can resolve them. The only way to resolve these contradictions that we have in the Constitution is through the BBI process, not by this advisory to the President. Look at Article 267, Mr. Speaker, that gives the Chief Justice the authority to give that advisory. And let us not forget, it is an advisory, not a decision, not an order. Let's look at that article in relation to Article 38(2) of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, Article 38(2) says as follows. I know you're familiar with it. Political rights. Article 38(2), every citizen has the right to free, fair, and regular elections based on universal suffrage and the free expression of the will of the electors. Clearly, this is one article that contradicts 267 and the administration constitution. And that's why I'm saying that we have the chance now to look at these various contradictions and see how best to resolve them. Mr. Speaker, let us look at Article 259. And 259 is on how we construe the various provisions of the Constitution. Has the Chief Justice complied with that? Did he address his mind to 259 before he issued the advisory? I think not. I think not, Mr. Speaker, because the reading of Article 259 is as follows. If you are going to construe the Constitution, then these are the tenets on which that interpretation must be based. Article 259, construing this Constitution. Sub-Article 1. This Constitution shall be interpreted in a manner that A, promotes its purposes, values, and principles. B, advances the rule of law and the human rights and fundamental freedoms in the Bill of Rights. C, permits the development of the law. And finally, most importantly, contributes to good governance. That advisory, does it help Kenya to contribute to good governance? It's going to create chaos. Mr. Speaker, I said when I was starting that as we debate this issue, let's be able to listen to each other. Because if we don't, we are going to miss the points in each other's issues, whether we agree or we don't agree. And as we speak here, Kenyans must understand that we are not arguing the way we are because of our interests as members of this House. No. We are agreeing to this because of posterity. We want this, when it goes down in the legal political history of Kenya, it should have been said by those who come after us that members of the 12th Parliament address this issue soberly, not in their own interest. We must make it clear to the Chief Justice that he is wrong. And we must make it clear to His Excellency the President that he must not comply with that advisory. Mr. Speaker, not all is lost for this House. Because Article 261, that Honorable Tina Mbola earlier on alluded to, gives us the chance, with the agreement of the Speaker, to extend the period if necessary. If we are able to garner 2/3 majority of the members of this House, all we need, Honorable, one way or somebody else to do is to raise an amendment based on 261, extend the period, pass it by 2/3 majority, and we are home and dry, and there will be no crisis in the country. So let's not discuss this issue as if we don't know the way out. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that Parliamentary Service Commission has decided that the matter be contested in court. It is only there that these various contradictions will be properly elucidated and properly dealt with. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance.